Hey there troops, it's me, TheTacticalBrit, and every once in a while I like to bring you guys weapons that I find interesting, or weapons that I just feel in general are worth using. The last time I did this we had the M1A1, and I think it's safe to say that that thing is a monstrosity in the right hands. I talked about how to use it, when to use it, and everything in between. And today I think I've got something very similar to that. This is a powerhouse weapon that I find really impressive, and it's a gun that I can see myself using for quite a long while now. And I kind of grew frustrated in Battlefield 5 of running out of bullets. So naturally, my instinct went, okay, well you keep running out of bullets, so you should probably go play the support class. And I didn't actually really enjoy the KE7 very much, or the MG34. So it was really difficult to grind through those first few levels. I find, when I say I'm running out of bullets, 20 bullet magazine on the KE7 is not exactly the replacement I am looking for. But finally I got hold of the Lewis gun. And this thing is, in my opinion, one of the perfect weapons in Battlefield 5, and arguably in my opinion one of the best weapons in Battlefield 5, because not only is it a sort of medium range powerhouse, but the weapon really does allow for room for error. The things I look for in weapons in Battlefield 5 is ultimately damage output, how much I can use it at medium range, but also at close and long ranges as well, and also really all in all magazine size, or at least reload speed. I think the perfect weapons in Battlefield in general as a franchise are the ones that are multi-versatile, but ones that allow you to play certain playstyles that are more beneficial without necessarily saying that you will get killed if you don't play within that given format. It's one of the reasons I really like the M1A1. It was because it was capable of doing close range, medium range, and long range, and although it wasn't necessarily perfect at short ranges and long ranges, it still didn't stop me from playing in those manners. And the same thing applies here with the Lewis gun. We have a gun here that ultimately does a decent fair amount of damage. I say it's about a 4 bullet kill, maybe 5 if you keep hitting central mass. I tend to aim for headshots, so I'm noticing it in and around the 3 to 4 bullet margin. And of course, depending on what specializations you're using, you could either have 97 bullets in a magazine or 47. I'm personally using 47 to tone down some of the recoil, because I found that at further distances, the recoil pattern, although it wasn't very difficult to deal with, it made it more challenging, and I'd rather be more accurate at further ranges than necessarily have more bullets. That being said, the 47 bullet magazine was more than enough for me to actually have a room for error, and this is something I really hate with some of the other weapons that I use in the game in Battlefield 5. You'll notice with weapons like the STG, the Sturmgewehr 1.5, other assault rifles and smaller magazined LMGs as well, like the Bren, that there really isn't that much room for error. If you get maybe 2 to 3 kills, that's about as best as you humanly can do. I really want to find a weapon that will allow me to rinse through 4 to 5 people. And I'm not saying that's because, I'm this amazing, incredible, godlike player, more because I find myself more often than not getting the drop on large groups of players and then having to reload mid-engagement. And of course, naturally, with that many players in one location, I will die very quickly. They will simply turn around, realize I'm there, and murder me instantaneously. And it was something that I found to get a little bit tiring, which is exactly why I started looking more towards the support class for the ability to rip through multiple players without necessarily being too concerned about my magazine. And I think the Lewis gun is the perfect solution for this, because this gun really does thrive at short to medium ranges. The Lewis gun by no means should be used in a 5 to 10 meter proximity, it can do that, and of course I highly recommend aiming down sights at any given point because the hip fire is quite weak, and it can effectively hit some long ranges too. But the real sweet spot for this weapon is in and around the 20 to 50 meter range, because not only does it allow you to train in headshots, but it also gives you a good region of error. It also gives you the ability to not be chewed up by any fast firing assault rifles or SMGs, but be accurate enough to tear through multiple enemies. And the lack of real recoil at that range allows you to get headshots incredibly easily, and I've been using the medium sight personally to get this on target. And this is all without mentioning the fact that the gun, of course, features a bipod. And this is just me running and gunning around, and I think it's a really impressive weapon because it allows you to hit those medium ranges to 20-50 meters without using any of its bipods, without using any stability checks when it's fully specialized, and really lets you be a medium range powerhouse in Battlefield 5. But of course, close range is not off the table either. The two other factors that, of course, need a bit more discussing is the bipod. The bipod can turn the Lewis gun into a long range range weapon. And what I really like about this is the ability to kind of choose a target that's somewhere in the distance, maybe a sniper, maybe a rifleman, somebody you know is causing some trouble, get yourself into a firing position with a bipod, be it laying down or mounted on a window, and know that you can lay down a successive fire of potentially 47 or 97 bullets without having to worry about the weapon being overly inaccurate. If you're using the medium range sight like I do, you can even pull off long range kills. This gun really is the multi-versatile weapon that I was talking about. But what's really important as well is, alongside the fact that this thing has about a 4-bullet kill, what makes this even more impressive is just because it has 47 bullets and operates closer to an assault rifle than an LMG, it lets you kind of have that margin for error for missing or engaging multiple targets that other weapons like the STGs, for example, never necessarily will. So, in conclusion, I think this is probably one of the best guns in Battlefield 5 at the moment. I highly recommend trying the Lewis gun. Of course, we have all the Overture weapons to get our hands on soon as well, and kind of dive in and see what they're all about. But I think at the moment, this is probably my favourite LMG in the game. As always, troops, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again soon in another video.